YouTube, you click this video because there's new competitive and defense matrix updates coming to the game, and we are going to watch the video and tell you find people on YouTube, what's coming up for the game in Season 10, which begins April 16th. Hi, Gavin. This is Gavin Winters. Blizz Winter in the chat.
I'm Gavin Winter, Senior Systems Designer on the Overwatch team. We're back with another developer update to talk to you a little bit about some of the upcoming competitive changes. My teammate, Senior Research Scientist Natasha Miller, will tell us about updates to Defense Matrix a little later. A few weeks ago, we heard from Aaron that heroes are coming out of the Battle Pass and they'll be available for free the day they launch. He also talked about the new Mythic Shop as well as the upcoming Clash playtest. He closed with a little sneak peek at what we're covering in this developer update.
Oh, have you guys seen gameplay of this? Oh, look at that. Look at that. This is the last point, point E. Looks like the tail end.
Season 10 is just around the corner, and we're excited to share these changes with you, starting with how we're updating the way you can play with friends this season. So let's talk about exactly how that'll work. We think Overwatch is at its best when you're playing with friends. So our new system in Season 10 lets any rank group with any other rank. That means, for example, if you're Plat and you've never been able to group with your friend in Bronze, you will be able to do that now. We'd refer
Oh my God, Twiggy, you can play with somebody now.
to your group as a wide group because you and your friend are pretty far apart. There are some trade-offs for wide groups though. They only play against other wide groups, the queue times could be longer, and the matches will be sillier.
They will be sillier.
Use our role delta tech to try to match you against similarly shaped groups. So if you're a Plat tank and your friend is a Bronze support, we'll try to find another Plat tank and Bronze support to match you two against. At the end of a wide match, you'll see a new modifier just for this system. Avoiding boosting is really important to us. So the wider your group is, the less your rank will change after any match. If you're Bronze and you're grouped with a champion player, you can expect almost no change to your rank, regardless of the outcome. We expect all this to be a huge match quality.
So you can't min-max. The inauthentic Champion 5 players trying to boost extra ranks playing with a Bronze friend, you literally will not gain a single thing, so don't bother.
We expect all this to be a huge match quality win for our solo players, because they'll never play against wide groups. We think of groups that are close in rank as narrow. So narrow matches will only be solos and narrow groups. All this means that you'll be able to choose whether you want to prioritize the highest match quality or playing with friends. We're also expecting to see fewer smurfs after these changes too, since we know some players were only creating alt accounts to play competitive with their friends.
True. A lot of people make an alt account to queue with friends to be at their rank. That's actually very, very common. I notice it more in Valorant. I don't participate in it in Overwatch at all because I don't make alt accounts in Overwatch, but I won't lie. Valorant doesn't have grouping restrictions, and we have like, I'm a very casual like Plat player in Valorant, and I know like we have an Ascendant friend who will just play on like a Diamond alt or like a high Plat alt with us sometimes.
Slots, but having more than 3 in our current
system, not to boost, but to just play with friends.
We realize that basing our
still lose
count on that restriction hamstrings the system for 99% of players though. So to add all the new features we're about to discuss, we had to rethink what it means to avoid players from the ground up. First off, we're increasing the number of avoid slots to 10. We're also going to let you pin some avoided players so that they never fall off your list. The trade-off.
Wow, 10 avoided players. Pinned avoided players are never replaced when new avoided players are added to the list. Wow. If there was anything I didn't expect Blizzard to do, it was this. Yeah, now you guys can pin and avoid me forever if you really want to. Thank you. This is avoid maxing. People ranked Q maxing into avoid maxing.
You'll now be able to prioritize your avoid list, where players at the top are most likely to be avoided. For players below Grandmaster, that's most of us, you can expect all 10 avoid slots to be reliable, but we still want to give you the tools to organize your list by how much you dislike the players on it. For our highest skill players, this feature is particularly important, because if we can't find a balanced match, we'll start ignoring players at the bottom of the list in order as queue time increases. Another area we're addressing
Did I hear that right? For lower rank, it doesn't matter for anybody below Grandmaster, but if you have 10 slots, it's too many people avoided, so they're gonna start allowing you to queue into the people you avoided from the bottom up. Is that what he said?
This feature is particularly important because if we can't find a balanced match, we'll start ignoring players at the bottom of the list in order as queue time increases. Another area where
I wonder what the threshold is. Is it like every 5 minutes it'll remove like the 10th avoided player slowly?
Addressing will bring changes to our lever penalties for unranked and competitive play. Right now, on the unranked side, our penalties kick in when you leave 4 out of your last 20 games and get worse when you leave 6 out of 20. We aren't changing those, but we are adding a more lenient 5-minute penalty if you've left 2 out of 20, and a much more harsh 48-hour penalty if you've left 10 out of your last 20 games. Now, there aren't a lot of players leaving more than 50% of their matches, but they do exist, and we think the game would be better without them most of the time. On the competitive side, we're closing another edge case by suspending any players that leave more than 10 matches a season. We're also going to start counting matches completed in competitive toward the 20-game window for unranked. Finally, I want to talk to you about our improved anonymity features. We already had a streamer mode, but...
Hold on. Let me look at this. In the last 20 games, warning, 5 minutes if you leave 2 to 3, 20 minutes if you leave a quarter of them, like 4 to 5, 20, 25%. And then for comp, 15 minutes. Right now, if you accidentally leave a game, I think it's a 10-minute penalty if you get DC'd or whatever in comp. 2 games is 2 hours. 3 is 8, 4 is 20. Wow. I think this is fine. I think I saw like some noise on Twitter saying this is too harsh, and I'm like, nah. Like, it's ridiculous to leave 10 out of 20, right? It's a bit too much. And some people were like, oh, well, what if I just want to leave like 1 game because I don't enjoy it in quick play? Well, you're making it unenjoyable for the other 9 people, because everybody who is playing the lobby in quick play absolutely hates a lever in quick play, and people hate backfilling. 2 to 3 games is 5 minutes anyways, but if you're leaving 20 to 5%, I mean, you just wait till you had to probably go anyways for 20 minutes, sure. The silent majority hates levers. I don't think anybody enjoys playing against levers. I mean, I think this is fair. Every person that's defending, like, if shit happens, I mean, yeah, if shit happens, okay, it happens here and there. But like, dude, 10 is insane, and that's fine. Like, bro, in comp, it doesn't state out of 20. It says out of your most recently game, so that's a bit more vague. I'm not sure if it's 20. Yeah, I really don't know.
On the competitive side, we're closing another edge case by suspending any players that leave more than 10 matches a season. We're also going to start counting matches completed in competitive toward the 20-game window for unranked. Finally, I want to talk to you about our improved anonymity features. We already had a streamer mode, but we're making this feature more useful to all players, not just streamers. Right now, this feature is client-side only, which means it only changes how players' names appear on your screen.
Yeah,
the big change we're
pointless.
making is adding server-side functionality, which means we'll change how your name appears on everyone's screens in your match. We think this is great for players who may experience harassment because of their battle tag and just want to queue up without any chance of that happening.
Thank you. So the current streamer setup was so pointless because all it did was just make your name like some weird name, only if you were an actual streamer and people could see it, but it really didn't matter. So everybody else in the lobby sees you, but a server side anonymity. This is fucking like Nemo saying anemone. Anyways, you know what I'm trying to say. The server side is perfect. Thank you. That's what we needed.
Don't worry. Players in streamer mode being disruptive in text chat or voice can still be reported, avoided, and blocked, and penalties will still apply to them in exactly the same way as normal, because we still know their name behind the scenes. Next, Natasha will talk to you about our main initiatives to combat disruptive behavior.
Thank you, Gavin. Hiya, I'm Natasha Miller, a senior research scientist at Blizzard working on Defense Matrix for Overwatch. While we are always working in many areas of combating disruptive behavior, today I want to talk about Disruptive Chat. I'll also touch on some of the tools that we're improving to help keep the community safe. Disruptive Chat can really negatively affect someone's experience in-game. In our focus to curb this disruptive behavior, we are taking a multi-pronged approach that will roll out over several seasons. Today, I'll discuss the first 2 coming out in the next few seasons. In our first approach, we will prevent players at endorsement level 0 from using text or voice chat. To be clear, the only way to get to endorsement level 0 is by having your account actioned for an in-game infraction. Even brand new players start at endorsement level 1. So these are players that have proven themselves to be bad actors, so much so in the past that they received a penalty.
Okay.
This feature would allow those players to take a forced break in team and match channels until they work their way back up to endorsement level 1. And from there, in all higher levels, chat would work as it did before. Remember, the best way to work your way back up to endorsement level 1 is to demonstrate good teamwork by trying your best, helping your team, and using the in-game ping system. In our second approach, we will remove chat functionality for spectators. Spectators don't have an in-game need to use the chat channels.
True.
By removing their ability to chat, we remove a channel that is increasingly being used by bad actors. Along with these improvements, we are looking at making...
I mean, it's not really like a problem for most people, is it? People spectator chat. Sort of funny, but also like pointless. They'd add nothing to it. They just clog the match chat. I don't know about customs. Customs may be a little bit different. I found it fun if I spectated friends in group while waiting, and then you kind of just meme in match chat, or like, yeah, they can heckle. They could just talk to your group chat. If you're just like joining to watch your friend play, talk to your friend. You don't need to talk to the enemies as a random spectator.
Easier and faster to report any reportable offense mid-match. At the moment, our numbers indicate that most reporting is done towards the end or post-match. And one reason for this is that it's not quick to report mid-match. However, this could put pressure on players to remember that they need to report, who to report, and what to report them for, all after the match. And at that point, they are likely more interested in just starting the next match. So we are hoping that by making it faster to report mid-match, more players will use the reporting system. This is very important because we rely on players to help us know what is happening in matches so that our mitigation systems can be more effective and reliable, overall making Overwatch a safer community for everyone. Player feedback is a vital part of improving and optimizing these types of features. So we want...
Yeah, apparently you're supposed to report right when you hear it, or see if someone's like dropping slurs or something like that, you'd have to report them immediately, because like they can grab the log in the last like minute that you report, versus like at the end of the game, then it goes through the entire game log, which could like be hard to find context or be able to find like the section.
To create even more avenues for you to share your thoughts with us. In Season 11, we're introducing the first iteration of player surveys into Overwatch 2. This won't happen after every game because survey participants will be chosen at random among the player base. The survey will be prompted after the progression screen at the end of match flow. This means that you'll be able to watch the play of the game, give endorsements, and review progression without getting interrupted. Once the progression screen is closed, the survey will prompt the player for their feedback. Both console and PC players will get the option to give us feedback via a QR code. PC players may also choose to open the link in a separate browser. Surveys will ask questions about the game, including new modes, events, features, and how you feel about the way we're mitigating disruptive play. We're excited for this feature, and we look forward to continuing to improve the game as we gather your feedback. These are just a few of the things we have been working on in this space. We will continue to bring you updates on our progress mitigating disruptive behavior via the Defense Matrix blogs, which will get a refresh in the coming seasons to include even more on the impact this work is having in the community through transparency metrics. Defense Matrix and
so I'm sure researchers like already know this, but like how valid is immediate feedback? Like if people are opting into it, I guess there's some merit to like how much weight it has. But like if you're asking me to like go through the hoops and all those stopping cues of like entering like a QR code and everything just for feedback, how much interest is that going to garner? And then number two, is that like information valid?
Defense Matrix and competitive will always be core.
Like are people just going to troll these answers? Is there some sort of incentive? I was like, maybe they can give an incentive, because I probably am too lazy to fill out like a feedback report once in a while and stuff, but like if there's no incentive, do you get battle pass XP? But then at the same time, if you offer an incentive, then the data is meaningless because people just speed through it just to get the reward.
Improve the game
it's
as
tough.
we gather your feedback. These are just a few of the things we have been working on in this space. We will continue to bring you
people on
updates
console
on
or
our
can't get a
progress
link from PC, they're not touching
mitigating
that.
disruptive behavior via the Defense Matrix blogs, which will get a refresh in the coming seasons to include even more on the impact this work is having in the community through transparency metrics. Defense Matrix and competitive will always be core to Overwatch, and we'll continue iterating, improving, and of course listening closely to your feedback on these systems. So please keep sharing your thoughts with us, and we can't wait to show you what we've been working on in Season 10 and beyond. See you soon.
Nice. We're back with a new defensive matrix on our efforts to keep Overwatch 2 a fun and safe and inclusive experience for everyone. Our latest dev update video revealed new features, blah, 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 blah. Let's dive deeper. So we're introducing wide groups in Season 10, and you'll now be able to play with your friends in comp no matter their rank. So what exactly is a wide group? A wide group is when the highest and lowest ranked players are too far apart in skill tiers and divisions. So any groups with diamond or lower ranked players that are more than 5 skill divisions apart are wide. So divisions is a division in between the actual ranking, right? What they're saying here is diamond 5 divisions is diamond 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. So diamond 5 to plat 5, like a whole 5 skill divisions in between. That's wide already. And then if you're in masters or higher, it's 3 skill divisions. So masters 1 to 4 will still be narrow, but if it's more than 3, so Masters 1 to 5, that's considered wide. GM 3 to Masters 2, that's a wide skill division apart. And any groups that are actually in Grandmasters or champion players are also wide regardless of how many skill division aparts they are. So GM 1 and Champion 5, no matter what, it's wide. If you're a champion player, you're gonna have to queue with the champion player if you choose to duo or just solo queue. So with this new queue options comes some trade-offs. For one, queue times will be longer, using roll delta tech to ensure the match is as close as possible. For those who don't know what roll delta tech is, this is a term they've used a lot where each roll has a delta, which is some term they use in stats and stuff like that. It's basically trying to match the specific role rating to the other person on the opposite team with the same role. So for example, without roll delta tech, an easy example is if you have a gold tank player, average the whole lobby is gold tank, but you have a platinum 1 support. So all gold, platinum 1 support, the game averages your rating to be, a little bit above gold because the plat player is pulling the average up. But then that means on the enemy team, that plat player could be the tank, but then everybody else in their team is gold. So your team has the plat support, gold, everything else. They have the plat tank, gold, everything else. But then they're saying, well, the gold tank and the plat tank matching up, the plat tank will be a little bit better, obviously, but that could be tough to play against because it's a bit more of an obvious difference if the tank player is a lot better versus the support player based on their impact in the match. So roll delta tech ensures that if the gold player is in tank, it'll try to match a gold tank. And if you have that one plat support, it'll try to find another platinum support there to kind of match the role with the imbalance. A wide group with a platinum player and a bronze player will be matched with another group with similar skill distribution and to try and deliver the fairest match possible. However, some matches may not appear to be as balanced as you may encounter opponents who are very different in skill level than you. Thankfully, though, such encounters won't necessarily have as much of an impact in your progress in the competitive ranks. If you queue with friends, you are choosing potentially bad matchmaking quality and not much progress in your ranks because you will not gain as much SR or rating. There will also be a new modifier at the end of the match when playing in a wide group. It wouldn't be fair for lower skilled players to be directly boosted to high ranks when they group with high skilled tier players. So some groups, depending on the skill gap, are likely to see little to no change in their skill progression. This helps ensure that the high skill players don't boost their lower ranked friends. Solo players will only play with other solo players or narrow groups, ensuring that they never play against wide groups. This also means we won't allow a wide group of 4 players to queue because solo players do not join matches with wide groups. So no 4 stacking. This means we won't allow a wide group of 4 players to queue. Oh yeah, no 4 stacking if your group is specifically wide. If you're a 4 stack of narrow, it might be okay, right? So yeah, if you have a 4 stack of like, diamond 1, plat 2, gold 3, silver 1, it doesn't allow you to because that solo player is always in narrow and it can't be matched with that wide group no matter what. This should encourage players not to play on alt accounts when they want to play with friends. You can look forward to this new update for matchmaking beginning next week, Season 10. On stopping leavers, we've already made adjustments to discourage leaving unranked games of Overwatch, and there are a few more changes coming in Season 10. We've also taken a firm stance on leavers in comp play and have a new update for that as well. Okay, so for unranked games, so quick players, mystery heroes, I think arcade included chat maybe, or is this unranked specifically for unranked quick play? I'm not sure. Players who leave 4 of their last 20 games, that's 20% chat, are put on a cooldown for 20 minutes before they can queue again, with an increase to 4 hours if you leave at least 6 of their last 20 games. Yeah, unranked sounds like quick play chat. So if you really are in the thing, like queuing and you're like, maybe I have to go in 5 minutes, then maybe queue arcade, or get this, just don't queue at all. Just do your responsibilities and then play Overwatch when you have time to sit down and play. Okay, we'll be adding 2 additional tiers. A 5-minute penalty for those leaving 2 of their last 20 games played, and a 48-hour suspension from queuing any matchmaking mode for those who leave 10 out of 20. That's very bad. 50% is a lot. Very few players deliberately leave 50% or more games, but we think this step will help further reduce the impact leavers can have in unranked Overwatch 2 games. To work back into good standing, comp now counts towards a player's 20 games played. Also, one thing you guys shouldn't do is preemptively leave, like it's 98%, 96, 97%, 98. Just wait till the match is over and then leave after. People literally could not wait 2 extra seconds and then they eat a penalty because they left a little bit too early. Competitive play is also receiving a notable addition in its penalty system for leaving games. Players can be suspended from competitive play whenever they leave any comp match. Penalties start off small at 15 minutes, but quickly escalate if they repeatedly leave games and can trigger a season ban, which will disqualify them for the rest of the comp season. When players complete several competitive matches, they'll work back into good standing. Now we're introducing a rule in comp that caps the total number of games you can leave in a season, regardless of how frequent it is. So 10 leaves in a season will be immediately banned. I think that's fine. If your internet is that shit, where you're actually gonna leave not just 1 or 2, but like 10, like that's where it's like, okay, maybe don't play comp. This should help curb players who deliberately choose to leave a match, thinking they won't have to deal with a lengthy suspension if they haven't left their most recent games. Remember, deliberately leaving or having a disconnection still counts as leaving, and while we understand it is often not intentional, it still greatly impacts the high stakes experience that competitive provides. While any player can have a technical issue while playing, it's important not to jump back into comp play until you're confident that any tech issue is resolved. It's true, that's what I just said. Expanding the streamer protect will now be called hide my name. Yeah, get rid of the word streamer. Don't make it seem like it's just for serving people like me and other streamers. This is for anybody. Hide my name is pretty nice. Effective tool for all players. Why do they call it hide? They could just call it an anonymity mode. And I think I said it right. Anonymity mode. I'm saying it right now. Anonymity mode. Last year, we introduced features that enable people to hide their information on their own client with the goal of discouraging disruptive players from watching streamers and attempting to queue into that streamer's game. However, it did not address the harassment issues for players who are better known. When you actively hide my name, your battle tag will appear as one of several dozen randomly generated names ranging from Crusher99 to Garlic Bread, and many fun references from Overwatch 2 in our community. There's a pre-made pool? Wait, I want to be called Garlic Bread. Players can see everyone's actual battle tags by checking the social menu. Don't worry, if you ever encounter disruptive players and are unsure if they're using a covered battle tag, you can still report any player you encounter during and after the match. That damn Garlic Bread's being super toxic, I'm reporting them. It'll still have their true tag hidden behind it, even if they're in an enemy mode, okay, chat? So yeah, don't worry. Expanding the avoid teammate, this is where we get 10 slots now. The current avoid system allows you to avoid up to 3 players you encounter. This has been the maximum because adding more slots would make finding matches for players at high rank like Grandmaster or Champion impossible. However, thanks to your feedback, we're going to help give everyone more agency over which players they are paired with on their team. So to better tailor your experience, you can toggle which players you absolutely don't want to play versus those you would rather avoid if you can help it. When your list is full, and you want to avoid a new player, they will be added automatically, dropping the player who's been on the list the longest. Don't worry, you can pin any players to ensure they don't fall off your list. Can you pin all 10? Honest question. Or is it only 3 pins? We haven't decided how many pins we're doing yet. It's just an example in the image. Okay, so I didn't want to read too into it and be like, you get 3 pins right here. So there we go, chat. Unconfirmed how many pins we'll have for now. I think 3 to 5 is probably a pretty good number. If you just give players 10 pins, they're just gonna permanently pin 10. If in the video that we saw earlier, once again to reiterate, in high ranked, I think it's Grandmaster or Champion, because queue times are already gonna be very long and you're removing, if like you're making a 10 player match, right? 10 players in a match, and each player has 10 players avoided on their list of similar ranks. Mathematically, if there's 10 players with 10 avoided players on each person's list, that's 100 players out of the pool right off the rip, which could make queue times a little ridiculous. So I think in the video they did say after a certain threshold of time, I don't know if the time is determined at all publicly, or if that's something you can share right now, but after a certain amount of queue time, if it's getting too long, it'll start knocking people off the lower end of your avoided player list on the least likely to be avoided. This is a gradient. So the person on the bottom here may get into the lobby because queue times are getting too long, and then over another set of undetermined amount of time, it may bring this person in the lobby just to get you a damn match. They don't want to say the value because they'll be tweaking it a lot. That's what I assume. So there's nothing public on how long the timer is for the thing, because it's probably constantly going to be tweaked to ensure good match queue times. That's what I assume. That's a good shout. Mitigating disruptive chat. We never considered it acceptable for anyone to insult, abuse. Yeah. Good. So when a player's action for disruptive chat are not playing fairly, they'll get demoted to endorsement rank level 0. Even new players start at level 1. You can only reach level 0 if you're actioned for breaking the code of conduct. So coming later this year, we're gonna prevent anyone with a level 0 from using any text or voice chat in their matches. I don't know if they're still allowed to hear teammates' voices, but I assume obviously you can't input any text or input your voice. Okay, so these privileges can be restored once the player reaches level 1 again, which is done by playing your best, helping your team, communicating with the in-game ping system. Okay, as long as they can still hear the callouts, I think that's okay. I was gonna say that kind of is like would hurt a little competitively if I'm making a call out, even though they're an asshole. Like, yeah, don't open your mouth because you spew too much stuff. But I'm trying to win this game and just play the game. Don't open your mouth. But they can hear like, okay, I want to nano you, Genji, and this Genji's been toxic their whole life. Maybe they're trying to reform, but just keep your mouth shut and they can't open their mouth, but they can at least hear me go, I'm gonna nano you, Genji. All right, we also recognize that some players like to be disruptive while they spectate their friends' matches. Since it's not possible to report spectators who are disruptive on console and very limited on PC, access to team chat and match chat will be removed. So they mentioned this in the video, but here's a better explanation. You can't report spectators on console, so they can just be racist and they can't be punished for it in spectator chat. So that's actually a better reason of why they're removing it. That explains it a lot more than the video we just saw. Faster reporting system. Every day we work to action disruptive players and correct inappropriate behaviors in our games, and your reports help us with this. However, we understand it's not easy to report when you're in the middle of a match, so we're designing an easier to use interface that should be able to enable all players to report as soon as they see it. Look forward to sharing it this year. Yeah, if you report at the end of the match, I guess it would have to like scan the entire match to find where they were being disruptive versus like, it's kind of like NVIDIA Shadow Play. If you guys have PC, it's like, it'll record the last minute. It's much easier to instead of looking at a 25-minute match versus like the last minute of when you just reported. Quick note though, spectator chatting and normal spectate for customs will continue to work. All right, so we're good. That was something they were asking Katie earlier because they were just like, yeah, we love the KarQ viewer games. I still want to talk shit to KarQ. Introducing player surveys. This is the last part. We're always watching for your feedback, whether it be on social media, etc., etc. So they're going to be introducing player surveys in Overwatch 2. They'll randomly choose players whenever they complete a match after the end of match flow, including the play of the game in your progression update. If you are selected, you'll be prompted by a new splash screen with an invitation to participate in an optional survey that you can access by clicking the link or scanning the QR code on your phone. So this is a big extra step. I'm not sure how much interest this will garner. It didn't say there was an incentive for it, whether you get, you know, maybe some Battle Pass XP or something like that. I mean, it's still better than no data. You get some data for some people who are going to choose to opt in and make sure and do something like this. So we'll see. I paraphrased the rest of this article because this is a long spiel, including the video. That is the update today. Again, looking forward to season 10 next week. Thanks for listening.